Much like Deuce said, ain't no stopping us now. Good morning, konnichiwa, bonjour, whatever language you speak, wherever you're at in the world, wherever you're at in the universe, humans and aliens alike. You're tuned in to the home of the Minnesota Vikings, the home of the best team in the National Football League, the home of the NFC playoffs, because after we beat the Lions next Sunday night, the whole damn thing is going to run through the bank, baby. Let's go! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Maxx Fuller, a.k.a. Frony Montana, a.k.a. Samuel L. Maxson, a.k.a. a million other things, and I'm joined by none other than the future mayor of White Bear Lake, the current boss of bidets, the Coke freestyle fighter, Zach Halverson. What's good, Zacho?
I don't know if my strong stance on freestyles and bidets will help me win that mayor race in White Bear, but
it's a contentious. Those are contentious subjects.
Very much so. But I actually got another bidet for Christmas this year.
Did you really?
Very, very happy.
Is it more high tech this time around?
No, it's supposedly very nice. I haven't installed it yet, and I'm very particular about bidets, so I don't want to say anything about it till I get on top of it.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to give any bidet endorsements.
Well,
You wouldn't want to mislead anybody.
By the way, I will endorse any bidet company. I want to make that clear.
What's up? 800-320-5326. Speaking of numbers, 2024 is almost in the rear view, but we will never forget it, Zacho, because 2024 will be taught in the history books on day one all across Minnesota, all across North Dakota, South Dakota, and Iowa, because this is the year, Zacho. I'm feeling it in my bones. I'm feeling it in my frones. This is the year the Minnesota Vikings finally do the damn thing. Their fate is in their hands after beating the Green Bay Packers 27-25 yesterday evening, setting the stage for a primetime Sunday night football showdown between the Vikes and the Lions in Detroit next Sunday. But before we get to that, we got to bask in the glory that is sweeping the pack in both border battles this year. Even though it's a cloudy, foggy day outside, it's a sunny day in our hearts, Zacho. Because even in the worst of seasons, nothing brings a smile to Vikings fans' faces, much like beating the Green Bay Packers, especially with all the things that they had on the line last night. I mean, that was just an incredible win by your Minnesota Vikings.
I'm gonna go back to I listened to those highlights, and I remember that Josh Jacobs fumble. I was like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. And then it got to 27-10. I was like, all right, we got this. And then we talked a little bit about it in the morning show, and I had the same feeling that Hawk did, where it was like, when it went from that to 27-25, I don't know, maybe it's White Bear math. I didn't realize how much the Packers were still technically in it. And could be because of my math skills, but I also think there is a just absurd level of confidence in this team that even when, these good teams, and that's, I argue and I debate and I bash people on Twitter all the time because they get, and I'm not, anti-negative. I have been negative for much of my life when it comes to Minnesota sports. I haven't seen any positivity in Minnesota sports literally my entire life.
Same. I'm 31. I've never seen a championship team in my entire life. Not even got there.
Close. So I look at this team and I see people are, we gave them life. It's like, no, that's a good team.
Packers are damn good.
It's a very good team that we played yesterday, and they are going to have good moments. They are going to make incredible acrobatic plays to intercept a very good Sam Darnold, and they're going to go down and score, and they're going to go down and score again and again. And the key is, as I've been, the season, all season long, defense has had this mantra of bend but don't break. Yeah, they're going to give up some, but they don't seem to give up all. And ever since that, stupid Thursday night a few months ago, it feels like years ago now.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
They have been just a good, solid, not a perfect team. And I don't know if I want a perfect team now.
No, it's not as fun with a perfect team.
Correct.
I mean, even the Chiefs fans, they're 15-1 or whatever the hell they are, but they're not having as much fun as we are over here in Minnesota. I mean, look, it's like you said, Zach, a couple years ago when they were winning all these one-score games, it did feel very fluky. It did feel very like the Vikings had somebody's voodoo doll or something and they were getting by the skin of their teeth. But every one of these close games this season, there's a clutch play from Sam Darnold or there's a clutch play from the defense or both because they play such good complementary football. So like you said, even when these teams start making their comebacks late in the game, I never once thought that the Packers were going to win that game or that the Vikings were going to give it up. I have the utmost faith in this defense to get a turnover when they need it. Because like you said, they bend like psychics bend spoons, but they never break. The offense is clutch. You can hardly even stop them on any play. You got to pick Jefferson. You got to pick Addison. You got to pick Hawkinson. And most of the time, whatever you pick, it's the wrong answer because all three of them are going to go off anyways. Aaron Jones is in the mix as well. So I have more faith in the Vikings than I've ever had throughout my entire life of watching them. And it's a weird feeling to have faith, especially as hot as they are rolling into the playoffs with possibly in our lifetime, Zacho. And I get it. They've made NFC championship games and they might have had better offenses or better defenses. But when you look at the whole grand scheme of things, the macro in the NFC, I think this is the best shot that they've had in our lifetime to go to the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, and that's just nuts because this is a 6.5 overall or over-under team a few months ago where Vegas thought they weren't going to win more than 7 games. And they've now doubled that number, and very well in a week or so we will be maybe talking about having a week off to rest and recover. And it's just, again, long ways to go from there. This is going to be a very, very tough game on Sunday. But it really, in a literal sense, feels like a dream.
It does.
It doesn't feel real. And that's both a good thing and a bad thing in the sense that I don't want to not enjoy this as much as I should in the moment. But I know that if this does continue to be as special as it has, and it continues to grow, and even into the postseason, if they don't make it the Super Bowl, which would, it would stink, but
yeah, they're playing with house money this season.
Absolutely. Then, it'll be disappointing, but I really want to enjoy this because it is nice, especially after last year and especially after the other years that we've had where we've struggled and, you have to come in and you have to talk about this team all fall and it sucks. This has been a delightful year despite some of the challenges, despite the, games like Jacksonville where it's like, yeah, they won, but did they? This team has really turned a corner and Kevin O'Connell mentioned in the post-game presser yesterday about, playing December football. Mm-hmm. And I do think that this team really has taken a whole new level of play in this month of this last month. The last 4 games have really just risen to the challenge. And I'm very excited about Sunday, but I'm excited for beyond both this season and beyond because I think have a coach that is just phenomenal at his job. And we have receivers, we have a full offense, we have a great defense. I mean, sky's the limit, it feels like, with this team. I just didn't realize we were going to get to the sky so quickly.
Me neither. Before the season even started, we all kind of thought the sky was going to be falling on this season. I mean, before they even played a single down, I could feel the clouds tickling my afro, Zacho. But we made it. We did it. It's so much freaking fun, and we only have to win one more game, and everything runs through U.S. Bank Stadium heading into the playoffs. And I don't know about you, and we can talk about this with Ron Johnson later. We'll have him on around 2 o'clock to talk some more Vikings and go hardcore football. But it kind of seems like U.S. Bank Stadium is the new 12th man. U.S. Bank Stadium is the new what Seattle used to be, because when teams come here, they are flustered, they are discombobulated, they are getting penalized, and they act out of character. And that's just that little advantage is the type of things that you need to go your way in the playoffs that the Vikings typically haven't. I think PA said yesterday on the broadcast they haven't been the number 1 overall seed since Pete Burcich was playing. And that's like, right, what, the 90s? Something like that? So it's just ridiculous, and it's just so much freaking fun. And I get it. It's Minnesota sports. We all want to see somebody hoist the trophy at the end of of the day, and it's hard to enjoy it in the moment. But man, between the celebrations, between the high-powered offense, the turnovers on defense, there's just so much to be happy about and so much fun to have with this Minnesota Vikings season. Someone texted in 507 guy says, I can't handle all this positivity at noon. Why not? We're 14-2. Why can't we be positive? Why can't we have fun after a big time win against our most heated rivals? Why can't we have fun?
Again, it's got to be data driven positivity for me. Okay.
Right.
Again, I have been that guy in the past. Like, okay, guys, like they're like 6-7. We're fighting for the last wild card. And even if we make it in, what's the point? And I've been, very frustrated in recent years too, just because I don't even care if they make the playoffs. I want them to do something more than that.
Yeah.
And the data shows, again, this isn't like, we use the word faith. It's all fun in games. But when you look at the data, when you look at how this team is playing football, playing great football at the right time, they are one of the possibilities. The fact is 31 out of 32 teams every single year don't win. And a lot of times the same of those 31 win each year, right. And you have even less of an opportunity. Year 31, I'm going to be 30 in about literally a week. Oh, okay.
Oof. Do you feel the
I don't like that at all.
Your door?
I'm going to just use that as a third life crisis, I guess.
No, seriously.
I don't like this at all.
Something's even worse. I'm going to tell you a year ahead. Something's even worse when you get to 31, because now you're not just at the cusp. You're not at the line of it. You're in it. You're in the thick of it. Like, you're in your 30s officially. It's a daunting. It is a daunting mental task to get over.
But my point is, we talk about how we've never seen a championship. Technically speaking, we shouldn't. Statistically speaking, we shouldn't. The good news is he said 31. I'm 30.
We got time.
We got time.
Hopefully.
And if you look at the data, there's 32 teams in the National Football League. Maybe this is finally the year.
Tell them, Zacho. I hope so. And it's just fun regardless, except for the Twins, obviously. It's just fun to have our teams involved in these conversations. The Minnesota Wild, they've been struggling a little bit as late. They're one of the best teams in the NHL. The Minnesota Timberwolves had their best run in 20 years earlier this year, and they're finally coming around. They're on a 3-game win streak, and we already know about the Vikings. They got the longest win streak in the NFL. They're one of the best teams, and they set the stage for a Sunday night showdown with the Detroit Lions next weekend. We'll talk about that and plenty more coming up. We got, what I hope is a super fun show planned for today. It's Zacho and I hanging out with you until 3 p.m. The common man, Dan Cole, still somewhere soaking up the sun, hitting the fairways, and partying in the good old U.S. of A. So it's me and Zacho trying to fill the impossibly large shoes that the common man left behind. But we're going to have some fun along the way. And as you know, every time that I'm in the big chair, you're essentially, you, the lovely listener, is the third man in the booth with us. We love to hear from you. Love to hear what you have to say. You can hit us up in a multitude of ways. You can holla at us on the Holla Hotline, 800-320-5326. Text us, 64686. You can leave us a talkback on the free iHeartRadio app. You can send a video message of you doing sign language. You could Spider-Man crawl up the walls of 1600 Utica Avenue, fog up the windows, and write a message with your finger. However you want to get a hold of us, we'd love to hear from you. As always, here on Noon to 3, we're going to carry the Kevin O'Connell press conference right around 1:15 to see what KOC has to say following yesterday's big time win. We got a couple of friends to chat with along the way as well. MC Jon B, a.k.a. Jon Berry, the in-arena host for the Minnesota Timberwolves, will be in studio at the bottom of the hour to chat about our favorite basketball team that's suddenly surging 3 in a row for Finchy and the gang. Kind of going in the exact opposite way, I guess, is the Minnesota Wild. So we got Michael Russo of The Athletic calling in to talk about all things Minnesota Wild. And that'll be right around 1 o'clock. Around 2, we got Gophers legend and Vikings fan line co-host Ron Johnson joining the show to give us his expert analysis on yesterday's win. And, of course, we'll look ahead to the future, ahead to next Sunday's duel with the Detroit Lions. And speaking of fan line, we're going to talk Vikings, Packers a little bit more next segment. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns about yesterday's win, we'll take them. So holla at us. And in the meantime, don't touch that dial, because we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Noon to 3. A texter points out, Maxx Fuller and Zach Halverson here for the common man, Dan Cole. We don't have a name.
We don't
have a name for our show. Like, what is... It's not technically like worst case scenario, although you're an OG member of the crew. I mean, do we have like a show name? A clever Zach and Max and Zach. Halverson. We'll send it to the writers to punch it up. We do not have a name right now, but if you want to give us a suggestion or chime in, we're going to talk Vikings right here. We got MC Jon Berry around the corner. So if you got any Timberwolves questions, feel free to text those as well. We're here recapping the Vikings 27-25 win over the Green Bay Packers. Zacho, what stood out to you yesterday in terms of the end of the game? Because I know, obviously, I don't want to jump right in. Everybody's saying that we're too positive, whatever. I'm not trying to jump right into the negativity, but this obviously has been something that's been going on with the Vikings. Do you think it's a defensive scheme type of thing? We talked about it. I mean, the Packers are obviously a really talented team, but what do you see is going on at these end of the games? Because I know you're watching this closely.
Well, first of all, God bless Cam Akers and his wonderful hands.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Stopping
hell of a cat. Who would have thought Jalen Naylor and Cam Akers probably the two MVPs of the game, just like everyone predicted.
Yeah, it's tough because you see the interception and the momentum kind of shifts, and Green Bay goes down and scores easily, and it's like, okay. But again, to me, the fact is, if you look at every NFL game out there, the vast majority are close games, not maybe as close as we like to make them, but closer games. It's any given Sunday. And, those were two tough teams. And, a touchdown in the first quarter is worth the same as it is in the fourth. And the same things that can happen in the first can happen in the fourth. And, I question about, holding on to a lead. I feel it's very linear. Right. You're just doing your best. So, they scored later on in the game. Yes, they quote unquote came back, but just because you have a lead doesn't mean the game completely changes. And in fact, it can change in some cases for the worse for you when they start airing it out and you start getting tired. And so Jordan Love, was given an opportunity in the fourth quarter to shine, and he, as we know, as we saw him last year, and we've seen him develop this year, he is a very good quarterback, and quarterbacks like him shine in those moments. And the margins are so slim that obviously, thankfully, Cam Akers made that catch. Yeah. Thankfully, the Vikings were able to do what they needed to do to win the football game, which is really all you can ask. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs very well could win the Super Bowl. Ugh. Look at how their season went.
Yeah. I don't think they've scored over 30 all season. Something along those lines.
So again, it's just about just doing what you need to do to win. And that's what the Vikings defense, despite, again, a rough fourth quarter, would have liked to have made that a little bit more comfortable. But again, you're playing an 11-4 team. They're very, very good at football. All right.
Yeah, you didn't blow a lead to the Carolina Panthers.
Correct.
Who are also up, actually. It's the NFL. Yes. There's so much parity this year. We've even seen, we can't even use that analogy because even the Carolina Panthers are giving teams like the Chiefs hell lately. Mm-hmm. That's just, these teams are a lot closer than people think. Like, obviously, it's a game of margins. It's a game of details. But that's all it is. If we're all mostly tuned into the Vikings. We're not watching every single down of every single game. But a lot of these games are a lot closer than they appear box score wise. There's more parity in the NFL this year, I would say, than most other years. It truly, genuinely feels like anyone could win the Super Bowl this season, whether it be from the AFC or the NFC.
Yeah, and that's the entertaining part of football is that, and Corey was talking about this morning, and I concur. Like, it is one game playoffs. You don't have a series. I can't even imagine what an NFL series. That's it's just exhausting thinking about Sunday alone enough. I can't imagine
game 3 or game 5 or whatever would be Nick Mullins in the practice squad versus the other team's practice squad.
Speaking of series, it might be a series eventually here. If the Vikings win on Sunday, the Lions will almost certainly be a favorite to meet again at US Bank Stadium. So there is that potential, but I just think
same with the Pack.
Correct, and that's what's crazy is to have two division opponents not only in the playoffs with you, but basically if it wasn't for the fact that the Packers just had to lose to us and the Lions, they would be right up there. You could see a 1-2-4 type scenario if we throw out divisions. I mean, that's what a year for the NFC North. And as much as we complain sometimes about our bad luck here in Minnesota with our Minnesota sports teams, imagine being the Detroit Lions now. You got the first step last year. You come back. You come rallying. You have your best season ever.
Like by far, when you're healthy, you're the best team in the league by 1,000 miles, it seems.
And you got to host the final game of the year in which you're either going to win and have a bye, which is great, or you're going to lose to a very good 14-2 team and find yourself going on the road to start the playoffs less than a week later.
Yeah. I mean,
Cutthroat.
That's brutal. That's just brutal. But like you said, that's the nature of the NFL. And you almost feel, if they weren't our division rivals, you almost feel a little bit bad for Detroit fans. Just a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I do. You know, I don't
have a hatred for Detroit.
I don't. And I was on a YouTube video a couple weeks ago, and there was a Detroit fan that basically was saying, hey, if the Lions don't do it, I hope the Vikings go win the Super Bowl. And I went back and I said ditto. I replied, never replied to a YouTube comment, but I'm like, I felt some kinship there. Like, I don't hate these guys. I don't go into this going, and in fact, it's weird. I would think any other year, I would be nervous about this. I'd be anxious. I want obviously the Vikings to win, but either way, I'm just floored that we're in this position. So grateful, really, that we're in this position, because we talked for weeks about potential scenarios, far more likely scenarios than we have right now, where this game, you could have had two teams with at most 3-4 losses where it meant nothing because, one team pulled away from the other. The fact that we have this gift of a game that, and even before, by the way, Detroit has played their Week 17 game. We already know the scenario here.
And also, just for anybody that is at Detroit, there's zero chance that they're resting anybody tonight, right?
That's what Campbell's saying.
That's just not Dan Campbell's style.
Maybe Dan Campbell can decide at the last second to start sitting some guys, and then he could say, oh, that's part of the gamesmanship to say that I wasn't. But there has never been in the history of Dan Campbell any signs of him willing to do such a thing. Yeah. And I would encourage Dan Campbell to go full speed ahead.
We double dog dare you.
I mean, the 49ers, I don't know if did you hear what the 49ers called Dan Campbell's mom?
Oh, yeah.
I can't even repeat it.
We can't repeat it over FCC Airways.
I mean, I think they need to really take care of business in San Francisco tonight.
Yeah, and if you heard that Jared Goff diss track on Brock Purdy,
keep him out there the entire game, because he really, the Jared Goff, he needs to teach those guys a lesson. My goodness. Again, all seriousness here, Jared Goff, if I'm coaching the Lions, he sees the field from the sideline with a nice little earpiece.
Yeah, I'm not letting him, especially the way that their season has played out. It seems nuts that they're going to let their starters out there. But
water boy for me.
Yeah, I know. Literally.
Actually,
I'm not even letting him in.
Stay away from the water.
That's true.
You might trip and fall.
The way their luck is. Might drown the way their luck is.
I'm putting him in a straight jacket and a padded room. Don't
Bubble
you do
boy,
it? Yes.
I'm keeping. Yeah, he can FaceTime and say hi to everybody from the crib. I wouldn't let a single starter touch the field. But hey, they call him Dan Campbell for a reason. Zach, how about we talk a little Minnesota Timberwolves around the corner? Obviously, everybody wants to talk about the purple and gold, and we got plenty of time for them.
Do we want to delay that an hour? I mean,
jokes. We'll ask Jon Berry what was up with yesterday's hour delay, and we'll ask him what's gotten into these Minnesota Timberwolves who are on a 3-game winning streak after beating the San Antonio Spurs last night. All of that and more around the corner right here on KFAN.
Football football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, make the keyword contest to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contests.
How about White Bear Math and Max's Stash? That's what one of the texters texted in. White Bear Math and Max's Stash. We got the Bro and the Fro. TMZ Hour. The Max and Zach Hour.
Oh,
you might run into some.
bad.
Yeah, I'm like, that's pretty good. Might run into some copyright issues.
I don't care.
What does Harvey Levin know about the law?
Oh, well, we'll get him back.
Oh, I can't say that one out loud. Well, the Frotato Chip Hour. We got lots of good suggestions here on the 64686 text line. Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Maxx Fuller Zach Halverson. Fill in for the common man, Dan Cole. We've been all Vikings so far on the show, but the Vikings weren't the only team winning big in downtown Minneapolis last night as your Minnesota Timberwolves made yet another furious fourth quarter comeback, this time against Wemby and the Spurs, beating them 112-110, rattling off their third win in a row. Nobody, and I mean nobody, not even Mark Rosen, who supposedly has the best seat in the house, nobody has a better seat for all of the ups and downs of a Wolves season than our next guest, your friendly neighborhood hoops hype man. He DJs weddings. He does some type of political stuff. I think he's dropping a semi-nude swimsuit calendar in 2025.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that.
He does it all. He is the in-arena host for the Timberwolves and the Lynx, the one, the only Jon Berry, a.k.a. MC John B. What's good, brother?
What's up, Max? Hi. Speaking of names, I missed an opportunity with you, me, and Parker over the Wolves run of our name of our show. We should have been called the Oreo line. And I totally missed that. And I kicked myself all summer for not bringing it up to you. So finally on 100,000 watt radio, I'm going to bring it up to you now. We should have been the Oreo line.
The Oreo line.
Yes.
I'm putting that in the back pocket. I'm sending that to the patent lawyers. Don't nobody take that. That is the Oreo line will be hitting your airwaves once again when the Minnesota Timberwolves make the playoffs. But that's a long way from now, MC John B. But it does seem like, and for a couple weeks there, it seemed like playoffs, not to go, Jim Moore on the bit. It seemed like playoffs, but they're rounded into form here a little bit.
Absolutely.
As of late.
And you said they've won 3 in a row. Let me take it a little bit further out.
Okay.
They've won 8 of 12 here in December. So they're 8-4 in December. I know Wolves fans out there. I read Twitter. I'm on X. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on all of them. Sky is falling. It's not falling, y'all. It's just like, it's a long season. It's 82 games. You can't have the NFL football mentality into an NBA season because you will get tired, you will get exhausted by mid-November, which is
you'll sound insane because one day you'll be like, it's over.
It's over.
I'm done
Trade
with this
everyone.
team.
I'm done.
They're
Fire
sellers.
Finchy. We're all done.
And
then the next game, you're like,
bro.
yes, extend Julius. Like, give them all max contracts. Like, I've seen it all in the last 2 weeks from Wolves fans, and I love it, but everybody just calm down. They've got the number 1 defense since Thanksgiving. They're 9-4 in the last 13, 8-4 in December. So I am not worried about this team at all.
Me neither. And one of the reasons that they have been rounding into form is because something's really been clicking with Dante DiVincenzo lately, man. Johnny Krasinski has a brilliant piece about him in The Athletic. Obviously, we know he struggled early in the season to the point where, I mean, at least for me, it started to be like when he shot, it was like a wince almost, It was like, ugh.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a moment.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I don't know if you should have shot, but it was pretty brutal. But obviously, he's turned a corner. He's turning into the guy we thought he was going to be, and we know him to be. Over the last 6 games, he's averaging not only 15 points a game, but on 50% shooting, including damn near 50% from 3. He just dropped a season high last night, 26 points on the Spurs. Is there, obviously, some of it's got to be mental in between the ears, and it just takes a while once you're in a new setting like that. But is there anything you're seeing on the court in regards to why DiVincenzo's play has kind of skyrocketed here over the last couple
I think you said
weeks?
it exactly right. It's getting comfortable in a new city. You get a trade in a training camp, and you're like, now you're forced halfway across the country. You're in a new spot. You've got a brand new child as well. I think his child is under a year old.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So he's like trying to be a dad as well too.
I think we all forget that these people are human beings.
These people are humans. Yes, absolutely. So you're trying to navigate all of that in a brand new city. So it just takes a minute and a new offense and everything too. I think also too, Dante's getting a lot more catch and shoot threes, which is his specialty as well too. So having him finally round into shape, I think he's going to take off. He's going to be the player that they got from New York in the future here. Yes, absolutely. Dante is on a roll. 26 last night. He was on fire. He was just, and watching him play and watching him dribble and initiate the offense is kind of beautiful to watch him do that.
He's got a swagger to him now.
He's got that ball out. Like, he's just like on a yo-yo, and he's firing it across the court. And I'm thinking he's going to do like behind the back passes.
Yeah, it's like NBA Street Volume 2 out
NBA
there.
Street Ball a little bit. I like Dante. Dante's my guy. Like, I let Dante do his thing. He'll get there. Yeah. Absolutely.
He's been coming around, man.
Yes.
And even before he was, the shot was falling, I thought all season he's really been doing like the non-scoring things well. He's been, like you said, initiating the offense. Him and Rudy are starting to have a little bit of a chemistry there. Absolutely. Obviously, he's kind of like the buffer for chemistry with Randall and the rest of the offense as well. And last night, he was rebounding his ass off.
He was rebounding.
All the intangible stuff is feeding that energy back into his offense.
There was a play last night on a turnover where Dante hustled back and broke away the ball from Wemby. Wemby was on a way to a dunk from the free throw line because, one dribble and that man is 3/4 across the court already. Dante got back and knocked the ball out of and they stopped a fast break dunk, and that's one of those plays that you talk about that Dante is initiating, and he's all about that.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see. Derek from St. Paul, Texas. Max, you said last week that the Wolves should be sellers at the trade deadline. You're a fraud. Yeah, I am a fraud. That's what we're talking about. You sound insane when you have to analyze these games game by game. You sound insane. It's a long season.
It's a long season.
And this team means a lot to me, so I get caught up in my emotions sometimes.
It means a lot to a lot of people, including myself. As little 6-year-old John, watching this team with Pooh Richardson and then Tyrone Corbin and Doug West and then KG and Steph. Yeah, this team means a lot to me as well, too. But I try to take it one game at a time. You talk about 1-0 seasons with the Vikings. It's 1-0 seasons. You just have 4 of them in a week. So one game at a time, y'all. One game at a time.
Speaking of you being a little guy and coming up and loving the Timberwolves, like I said in your intro, you're the in-arena host for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx. A texter's texting in and saying, ask you how you got the job because he says it's a classic tale, if he can remember correctly. It is a
classic tale. I was sitting at work one day, and I got a text message from my wife. She said, I was a season ticket holder. I've been a season ticket holder for 15 years.
Dang.
15 years, yes.
Sick brag.
And, thank you. Disposable income, y'all. So, and I would sit in my seat and I would, just look out in the crowd like, I could do that. That's easy. My wife would get annoyed. And then finally I was sitting at work one day
which is the most dude thing ever.
I could do that. That's easy. Why did I say it that way? I could do it that way. Yeah. So she texted me the open audition. She goes, put your money where your mouth is.
Wow.
She said, here you go. And there was an open audition. And I was like, all right, let me just go. I'll go and I'll just shut her up, just like whatever. I did it and they didn't like me. That's usually how I thought it would go. So I went and did the first audition. Target Center is empty. There's a stone floor. There's no basketball hoops. There's nothing. It's just completely empty. My voice is echoing when I'm talking lightly. And I'm like, oh, this is intimidating.
Yeah. So
you do the audition. You're like, okay, I did it. Great. I can quiet my wife for at least one game. And then they call me back. I'm like, oh. Okay. Didn't expect that. Right. All right. I guess I'm not half bad. Right. I'm like, all right. So audition 2 turns to audition 3. And they're like, oh, this is serious. And so after the 4th audition, you're like, okay. And then nothing happened. Like nothing happened. 6 weeks later, I'm standing in my backyard and they're like, we never do this, but we're going to have you host for us for like 6 weeks. They gave me a 6-week trial.
Oh, dang,
because they're like, we've never had a season ticket holder like get this far. It's usually media personalities that do this.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy in the stands. I'm a guy in the stands who works at Target. That's where I was working at the time, was Target. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. So 6 weeks turns into 6 months, turns into 6 years, turns into now this is my 11th season doing this. Yes, man. It is a classic tale.
That's awesome. You would have thought, because did you do media stuff before that, really?
I mean, I've worked here in this building in promotions and marketing. Like, I made the joke coming in, I usually went left in the building, and this first time I've ever gone right.
Being on the on-air side, right? The jungle.
So I've worked in marketing my whole life, but nothing like this at all.
That's crazy, man, because you're such a natural at it. And I'm not just saying that just because you're right here.
It's my love of game shows, watching the Price is Right and Wheel of Fortune, and Alex Trebek is one of my heroes, and Peter Tamarkin, and I'm a game show nerd. Like,
really?
Corey's a game show nerd, and I'm in that same vein as well too. Him and I are like two peas. Like, I feel like he doesn't have a lot of friends. I feel like we would be friends. Corey and I would be friends in terms of hosting. So that's where I get a lot of my, hosting chops, is watching, Steve Harvey and Ray Cohn, if you know Family Feud at all. So
Family Feud that's my jam.
Yeah.
That's the one. I can do that guy. When they give an answer, I'm like,
Steve Harvey is your classic. I can do that, because you don't see Steve Harvey as a game show host, but the way he does Family Feud is phenomenal. And yes, I try to mirror a little bit of that when I do Wolves games. Absolutely.
Speaking of the Wolves games, like I said, you got the best seat in the house out of anybody in the entire Twin Cities. What has the vibe been like this season, coming off of the high that was last year's playoff run?
I think fans are still chasing that high.
Yeah,
they are.
Because it's a little bit more, I was talking to Chris Hine about this on Friday. It's a little bit more contentious this year between the fans and the players, don't you think?
It is. I can feel it. Definitely. They're waiting to, there's that scene in The Incredibles where that kid is at The Incredibles house, and he's like, and he goes back, "What are you looking at?" "I don't know, something great." Like, that's kind of what the fans feel like right now. And it's like, this is a different team. We have to let them marinate together, and then they will get there. They have all the talent in the world, but we just need to support them while they marinate, guys. Let's get on board. Let's get hyped. Let's get loud. Let's turn Target Center into that crazy place we all know and love it to be. Absolutely.
And it feels like it has, just like game in and game out. Like, it seems like attendance is way up this season. It seems like people are way more into it. And that kind of energy and attention comes with expectations.
Yes, absolutely. It does come with
a little harder for everybody.
This is a different team, though, than last year. So people just have to...
Stop chasing the dragon.
Stop chasing the dragon.
After that first hit, you might not get as high as the first time, but it's still fun, y'all. It's still
so much fun.
Real
Absolutely.
Thank you, Zach. Speaking of last night's game, how nuts is it to just see Victor Wembanyama in real life? And compared to last year when he came here and this year, he's a significantly better player.
Absolutely, 100%. I was watching his pregame warm-ups, and the kid, he's a kid. He's 19 years old.
Right. He doesn't even know he doesn't even know to not play chess with fans in the middle of New York.
Or the jersey swap with the little kid and him as well, too. Right. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it was great.
When he jumps to dunk, he jumps about as high as I jump, but he's 7'6", and he just it's like me on an 8-foot rim. That's kind of what it is. And he's dropping three-quarter court shots like it's nothing. Like, he's just in the backyard playing. And he made it without any sort of... It's so easy for him.
There's no defending. At one point...
You can't defend that.
Late in the game last night, I saw Julius Randle play about as good as defense as I've seen him play all season.
Yes.
Wemby had nowhere to go, and then just goes...
He just puts it up.
And just jumps up, and there's nothing
and it's a single person can do. It's in the corner where I stand, and I'm watching this, and I'm just like... What do you do? And I turn back and I look at my stage manager and my producer back there behind me, and I just look at them like, I just throw my hands up like, what do you do? And they're like, I don't know. Julius Randle played perfect defense, and there's sometimes that edge, good offense beats good defense, and that's really what that was.
And that jump shot is so
smooth,
silky and smooth this season, man.
Yes.
I mean, he's like, not to overreact, it's like a 7'4" Kevin Durant, the way the shot has fallen these days.
Absolutely. And he can pull up from three, which I don't like him pulling up from three.
Me neither.
Go down low and just body somebody and just do your little jump hook. You're going to get that every time.
Seeing that they were the Wolves had doubled the amount of paint points as a team that has the guy that's 7'4" is kind of baffling.
It is baffling.
Eventually, he's got to add that to
Where
his game.
is Tim Duncan at? Where is David Robinson?
Right.
Show him how to be in the paint.
Like, you have the best teachers in the world for that very skill.
Gorgie Jang is on the team. Right. Get Gorgie down there and get him some post points. Come on now.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And it's when he was coming out of college, I was kind of a Wemby denier a little bit. I was like, this guy's not that good. Okay, we'll see how it is. And
he's that good.
He's that good, and even better. It is 100%. Everybody get their wins.
I
and now
do
it's his
appreciate Ant guarding Wemby.
That was
last
awesome.
night.
That was so
See
cool.
a little bit of that.
In clutch time,
In
too.
clutch
Yeah,
time.
that
And I was like,
so
no, I
cool.
got him. And he held him down. I'm like, okay, Ant, go ahead and guard Wemby. That's
Right,
fine.
why
He's a
not?
foot shorter than Wemby. Yes.
But he's got the heart. He's
has
7'4"
that heart.
at heart.
Yes.
I mean, we seen him play good defense against Jokic a little bit in the playoffs. So
Ant will pick up really good defense, and when he buckles down and does it, he will lock people up. Doesn't matter what size you are, he will lock you up.
and he probably said, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah.
Bleepity bleep right here.
Yeah, I got this bleepity bleep. Let's go.
But you better start saying bleepity bleep because he just got fined $100K.
He's excited. I know.
love it though.
Yeah.
I don't. It never feels disingenuous.
No, not at
like
all.
it doesn't. It feels
It's
real.
Ant.
That's who he is. He's just
Ant.
getting caught up, and that's his personality. And I get it. I get why the NBA has to do it. Although I do find it a little hypocritical. They posted the post game interview
did.
on their very own social media channels, and then amplified it times 1,000, and then go, oh, by the way, here's $100K. Here's $100K fine.
Ant just hitting a 3 in the corner to win the game. I'm going to say a few words too. Like,
Right.
we're all like that. So
Right,
come on now.
exactly.
You're at the Y. You hit a corner 3 to win the game. You're going to be saying some words.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it on 2K. I'm going to do it to my daughter on the play school hoop. You can't see me. I start sounding like John Cena all of a sudden. We're talking to MC, Jon Berry, the Timberwolves in arena host. Couple more for you. We got a texter, Ben, texting in from the 763. He says, who's your favorite halftime show act? I know one of my least favorites is the chair guy because it scares the hell out of me. Because I'm always like, he's
Slottick?
Yeah, whatever. When he's like, he's the oldest daredevil in America. I'm like, yeah, until he's not.
He's good. He's really
He's
good.
awesome,
He's
but
an awesome.
I get
He's just
so
an awesome
anxious.
dude. He's just really like when he gets there, we have a good 2 to 3 minute conversation just about everything, and I just get to talk to him. He's a phenomenal person to talk to, and he's just so nice and so caring. He gets up on those chairs. That's his space.
Right.
That's his area. Like, I don't have any doubts. I watch it every time because he gets it, and like it's a phenomenal show. That one's my favorite. The GOAT. The GOAT.
Red Panda.
Red Panda.
Of course.
It's Red Panda.
Yeah, that's the GOAT.
It's number one. She's the GOAT. Although I want her to find an understudy. Like, who's the next Red Panda?
That's a good point because she's got to be getting up there at this point. She can't be pandaing forever.
Right. So who is, like, here's a business idea. Can you buy that show from her and then train someone to do that?
That's a good idea.
A good business idea, right?
I might have to learn how to get on the unicycle.
No. You don't do anything. You train someone.
Just train someone else
Train
to do
someone
it.
else to do it.
Okay.
They do it. Some acrobat, some gymnast, somebody like that on a unicycle who learns how to flip cups onto the top of their head. And then there's your business. You go around to halftime shows and it's Red Panda 2.0.
It's a lost art.
It's a lost art. And it will be a lost art if somebody doesn't pick that up.
Just got to pass it down.
Yes.
We need a whole like a 30
I'm not
for 30
telling her to
about
quit
this.
now.
Right.
I don't. No, not at all.
She's still goated.
She's still goading.
Until the plates start breaking, then we can have that
Yes.
conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Until she's ready to be done. But somebody needs to be ready to take that mantle next. Absolutely.
100%. Last one for you, John. Are you a New Year's resolutions guy?
Now that I'm about to be 40, I feel like I need to have some, not resolutions, but maybe some ins and outs.
Yeah.
Some ins and outs. Yeah.
I kind of feel that same way. I'm the fakest New Year's resolution person ever because when it's New Year's Day, I'm feeling all inspired.
Yeah.
I got the twinkle in my eyes.
And then
I'm like,
Quitter's Day hits and you're
it's
like.
not even quitter. It's like the next day. Like I never even start. I never even get going.
To the 13th, which is my birthday, and that's usually when the New Year's resolution stops. It's like, oh, it's my birthday. I can do whatever I want today.
And then you just never get
pick
back into it.
Nope,
right? Yeah.
Not at all.
100%. Well, what's one New Year's resolution for you and one New Year's resolution for the Minnesota Timberwolves?
One New Year's resolution is to do more stuff like this with you and everybody, being more, out there with everybody. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, a New Year's resolution. Oh,
I know it's kind of, they're in a weird,
because they're trending up.
In between.
They're trending up.
Exactly.
So I don't want to
keep
say,
doing your thing.
Keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Yes, just keep doing your thing. Play that defense. I would like to see more ball movement, not the ball get more sticky.
Yeah.
I like get that ball moving, keep it moving. There are times. No more hero ball. There are times where that ball gets sticky, and it's like, keep moving it, guys. Just keep moving it. So that's my one New Year's resolution for them.
Well, we'll see you. When's the next Timberwolves home game that we'll see you at?
Thursday night against the NBA champs, the Boston Celtics. Yes.
It should be good. They're going to bring their A game. You always bring your A game.
Thank you, Max.
And you brought your A to KFAN, so I appreciate you today, John.
Absolutely.
You're the
Anytime.
best, man. Second hour of the Grum coming at you. We got Michael Russo. We go from one Minnesota team to the next. We're going to talk to Russo of The Athletic all about your Minnesota Wild, followed by the Kevin O'Connell press conference. We'll hear what KOC had to say following the Vikings' big-time win against Green Bay. All that and more. Don't touch that dial.